Okay, so let's go on to the next topic today, collision theory of reactions. In the previous class, we did the rate of the reaction, we also did the rate constant, and we did the units of reactions, units of rate constant. Okay? What is collision theory of reactions? According to this theory, a chemical reaction will only take place if collision between the reactant molecules take place. Okay? If there are collision between the reactant molecules, only then the reactions, they are going to be converted from the reactant to the product. Okay? Up there we have a term which is Z. Z, that is known as collision frequency. Okay? What is collision frequency? It is the number of collisions taking place per second per unit volume. It is the number of collisions which are taking place per second per unit volume. Now, when we are looking at the collision frequency is very high, of the order of 10 raised to power 25 to 10 raised to power 28 per second. Right? So this is the value of binary collisions, you can say, when two reactants they are reacting. So this is the value of binary collisions. So if this is the amount of collisions which are taking place, then all the reactions should be very fast, because the collision frequency is very high, 10 raised to power 25 to 10 raised to power 28, which is a big number. Okay, but when we started the chapter, we had said that the reactions may be very slow, the reactions may be intermediate, and the reactions may be instantaneous or very fast. What is the cause behind the fact that although the collision frequency is in between 10 raised to power 25 to 10 raised to power 28, still the reactions may be slow, right? So then there was another factor given, that it is not only the collision frequency which is looking after the rate of the reaction, but there is another term F. Okay? F, that signifies fraction of collisions which are effective, right? Or effective collisions. So we are saying that every collision does not bring about a chemical reaction, but only effective collisions, they are going to bring about chemical reactions. Okay? So what are those effective collisions? For any collision to be effective, they have to cross two barriers. Right? For any collision to be effective, they have to cross two barriers. The first barrier, that is known as the energy barrier, and the second barrier, that is known as the orientation barrier. Right? Energy barrier and orientation barrier. So let's first study the energy barrier. We say that for any collisions to be effective, the reactants should possess should possess minimum amount of energy which is known as threshold energy. ठीक है? They should possess a minimum amount of energy which is known as threshold energy. So if we are taking a graph between fraction of molecules and energy. So the graph that comes to like this, right? So this is the fraction of molecules which are capable of showing effective collisions. Right? So you can see over here that this is the maximum amount of energy which is present. So the reactants, they have to cross this barrier. Okay, this is the maximum. So we say that the maximum amount of energy which has to be present, that is known as what? That is known as the activation energy. Okay, right? So what are we saying over here? There is an energy barrier for every reaction. That is what we are saying, right? And the reactive species must be provided with sufficient energy so as to cross this barrier over here. Okay, this barrier, that is known as what? That is known as the activation energy. And this activation energy, that is mathematically equal to threshold energy which is equal to threshold energy minus average kinetic energy of reacting molecules. Right? Threshold energy minus average kinetic energy of reacting molecules. Okay? And threshold energy will be equal to what? The threshold energy which we have used over here. Threshold energy, that is equal to the sum of initial potential energy of reacting molecules right, plus the activation energy. Plus the activation energy. So the minimum energy required for any collision to go towards the products, that is known as what? That is known as the threshold energy, and this threshold energy comprises of the energy barrier. Okay, now let's see what is happening over here. We say that there are certain high energy molecules which are colliding with one another. Okay, so as a result, what will happen? The forces of repulsion they are going to take place. When two molecules are coming closer to each other, there are certain forces of repulsion which are acting on them because of the electrons which are present in the outermost shell. Okay, now we have high energy molecules. Now as a result of which, what happens? Then when the energy is very, very high, the molecules, they reach one state which is the state of maximum energy. Okay, at this particular you can say at this particular point, the molecules form an unstable compound, and this state, it is known as the activated complex state. Okay? This state, that is known as the activated complex state. Now this state, because the energy is at the highest during this time, we know that any compound or any system which has very high energy, that is going to have very less stability. Okay, so this activated complex which is formed over here, this is short-lived. This has a tendency to immediately lose energy and go to a lower energy level, and which is the products. So collisions are taking place with high energy molecules, as a result of which they reach one state of maximum energy, which is known as the activated complex state. Because of its higher energy, it is immediately going to lose energy and come to a stabilized state, which is the product state. So this is how the reaction that is going to take place. Now, one thing you have to remember over here is that it is not always the products which are going to be formed. Sometimes if the reactant state is more stable, or it is at a lower energy, the activated complex may also go towards the reactant state. Okay, so whichever is lower energy, the activated state has a tendency to go towards that state. Right? Now this is true for both exothermic and endothermic reactions. So let's understand this with the help of graphs for both exothermic as well as endothermic reactions. So first we are drawing a graph for exothermic reactions. ठीक है? We are taking energy and we are taking progress of a reaction. ठीक है? Now for exothermic reactions, we know that delta H that is supposed to be negative. So as a result, the reactants, they are at a higher energy state with respect to the products. Okay, so this is the reaction starts with the reactants and it finishes at the products. The difference in energy between the reactants and the products, that is the enthalpy change, which is given by delta H. This is the activation energy barrier for the forward reaction, right? Similarly, this is going to be the activation energy barrier for the backward reaction. So what all can we visualize from the graph over here? Number one, the value of delta H, that is equal to Hp minus Hr, as the enthalpy of products or the energy of products is lower as compared to that of the reactants. Delta H over here, that is going to be taken as negative. Okay. Also you can see that the activation energy barrier for the forward reaction, that is smaller as compared to that for the backward reaction. So second thing which we notice over here, that activation energy for forward reaction, that is less than activation energy for the backward reaction. Right? So whether it is exothermic, we are talking of exothermic over here. Now if the reacting molecules have enough energy, what is going to happen? They will proceed towards the products. If the reactant molecules, they have enough energy, they will cross this energy barrier and they will start going towards the products. Isn't it? Clear? So they go towards the right hand side. If the activation of the energy is low, what is going to happen to the rate of the reaction? That is going to be fast. So we are saying that in this case, if the activation energy, the value of activation energy is low, the value of rate constant is high, and hence the reactions, they are going to be fast. ठीक है? क्लियर हो गया? अगर EA कम है तो रेट कांस्टेंट की वैल्यू ज्यादा होगी और रिएक्शंस जो है they are going to be fast. Now let's draw a graph for endothermic reactions. Okay, now for endothermic reactions, we know that delta H, that is going to be positive. So we are again taking energy and progress of the reaction. Okay? Now in this case, the energy of the reactants, that is going to be less than the energy of the products. So this is the reactants and this is the products over here. So delta H, that is going to be this. Okay, this is going to be EA for forward reaction and this is going to be EA for backward reactions. Okay, now in this case you can see that delta H, that is going to be positive because the energy of the products is greater than the energy of the reactants. Okay, and EA forward for such reactions is greater than EA backward. So for endothermic reactions, a lot of energy is required for the reactants to reach up to the activated complex state, or in other words, when we increase the temperature. Okay, when we increase the temperature, we are providing more energy to the molecules. Hence, they can easily cross the activated energy barrier and go towards the products. In this case, the value of EA is high. So for endothermic reactions, value for EA is high. Okay? Therefore, the rate constant is going to be low. So it has low rate constant. Okay? And therefore the reactions, they are going to be slow. Now let's compare both of them. If we increase the temperature over here for the exothermic reactions, then we can see that the activation energy for the backward reaction is more. We are providing more energy for the products to be converted towards the reactant side. Okay? So at higher temperatures, the reaction proceeds towards the left side for exothermic reactions, and for higher temperature the reaction proceeds towards the right side for endothermic reactions. Okay, so this is the differences between the exothermic and endothermic reactions. And activation energy, that is given as what? It is given as EA, that is equal to the activation energy of the, or the energy of the activated complex of activated complex minus the energy in the ground state, minus the energy in ground state. Okay, so this is the value of activation energy, right? And what is going to be delta H? Delta H is the difference between, these are kind of questions which you can get, numericals which you can get in your competitions. So delta H, that is equal to what? Activation energy in the forward reaction minus activation energy in the backward direction. Okay, so this is activation energy in the forward minus activation energy in the backward direction. Clear? So this is the differences between exothermic and endothermic, and this is what the energy barrier is, that for every reaction to proceed towards the forward direction, they have to cross the activation energy barrier. Okay? The second barrier which we are going to discuss, that is the orientation barrier. Let's go on to the second barrier, which is the orientation barrier. The reacting molecules they should have proper orientation during collisions. Okay, only then they can form a compound. Like for example, let's illustrate with the following figure. We have two molecules which are colliding with one another. This molecule is coming in this direction. In a similar manner, this molecule is going to go in the other direction. Right? So they are going to collide with each other. They form an activated complex. Okay? And henceforth, they are going to, these two have already formed bonds. So they are going to separate. Clear? Now in this case you can see that the orientation is proper. But if in case the molecules are approaching in different axes, like this is one molecule and the other molecule is this. Okay, so in this case the activated complex which they are going to form is something like this. Now you can see over here that this molecule and this molecule, that is not coming in contact with each other at all. Right? So as a result, no product will be formed in this case. No product that is formed in this case. So for any reaction to be progressive, it has to cross both the barriers, that is number one the energy barrier and the second one that is the orientation of the orientation barrier. ठीक है? समझ आ गया? Okay. So now we are talking of the rate of a reaction. In this entire thing we were talking of rate of a reaction. So let's say that rate of a reaction that is directly proportional to the collision frequency, which is denoted by Z, and it is also directly proportional to F, that is the fraction of collisions which are effective. We also know that rate of a reaction that can be denoted by minus dx upon dt. This we had studied in the first thing. Okay, minus dx upon dt. So we say that this is equal to z into f. ठीक है? Minus dx upon dt, that is equal to the product of collision frequency and fraction of collisions. Then what are the factors which are going to affect the rate of reaction? Factors which affect the rate of reaction. Number one, it is the physical state of the reactants. Physical state of the reactions. Now it is seen that the gaseous reactants, they react fastest of all, and then the liquid and then the solid. Right? So this is the decreasing order of rate of reaction. Similarly, when we are talking of two kind of systems, that is the homogeneous and the heterogeneous system. So collision is not very effective in heterogeneous. Okay, so collisions, they are not very effective in heterogeneous, but they are more effective in homogeneous. More effective in homogeneous, which means that if we have all the gaseous reactants, they are going to collide more effectively than one gaseous reactant and one liquid reactant. Got it? So if they are in the same phase, they are going to react more effectively, and if they are in the different phases, they are not going to react more effectively, right? Then the second over here, physical state, say we come to the size of the reactants. Size of the reactants. It is seen that smaller size particles they react more effectively, okay, or they react faster. But if we decrease this smaller sized particles to powder form, then the powder form of reactant species they react the fastest. They react the fastest. Now, why this is happening? Because what are we doing over here? We are basically increasing the surface area. Greater the surface area, more is going to be the rate of reaction. Okay, so from smaller size we are converting it into a powder. Therefore, they are the surface area of the reactants that is increasing, and hence the reaction is going to be faster. Okay. Similarly, we also consider the chemical state. Chemical state of the reactants. Over here we consider the physical state. Now in case of chemical state, the type of bonding which is present in the reactants, that has a large impact on the rate of the reaction. ठीक है, जैसे for example, अगर हम लोग एक reaction ले रहे हैं, 2NO2, okay, and on the other hand we are taking another reaction, we are taking this reaction. Right? Now in the first case, you can see that there is a triple bond between N and O, which is a weaker bond. So as a result, this bond can be broken much more easily than the bond between C and H, which is a single bond. So more easily the bond of the reactants can be broken, more is going to be the rate of the reaction. ठीक है? So chemical state के ऊपर भी depend करती है rate of reaction. Then next we come to concentration of the reactants. Concentration of the reactants. We say that more the concentration of the reactants, more is going to be the rate of the reaction. So, in other words, rate of reaction is directly proportional to concentration of the reactants. ठीक है? So this is the fourth part, concentration of the reactants. But you can say the most impact on rate of the reaction, that is done by temperature. So let's see the effect of temperature. Temperature. The rate of the reaction that increases with temperature, and we say that for every 10 degree rise in temperature, for every 10 degree rise in temperature, the rate of the reaction doubles. ठीक है? For every 10 degree rise in temperature, the rate of reaction doubles. Now, in order to calculate how many times the rate of the reaction increases with certain temperature, you can use the formula 2 raised to power n. Right? Where n that is equal to number of times temperature increases by 10 degree centigrade. Okay, for example, if you get a question that how many times does the rate or what is the rate of the reaction if we increase the temperature from 10 degree to say 60 degrees. Okay, so what is going to be N over here? 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50 and 50 to 60, 5 times. The temperature has increased by 10 degrees by 5 times. So the rate of the reaction would increase by 2 raised to power 5. ठीक है? 2 2s are 4 2s are 8 2s are 16 2s are 32. So rate of the reaction that becomes 32 times. Okay? So this is one important formula which you can calculate. Right? Now the temperature coefficient if we are talking of, it is defined as the ratio. Temperature coefficient that is denoted by mu. ठीक है? Now mathematically mu it is defined as the ratio of rate constant at temperature T plus 10 degrees centigrade upon the ratio at T degree centigrade. Right? This is mu. Now for two temperatures, इसका जो value होता है mu का, that varies between 2 and 3. The value of mu that comes in between 2 and 3. So if we are now considering two temperatures T1 and T2, okay, let's say that KT2, that is the rate constant and temperature T2, and we are taking the ratio KT1, okay, that is equal to divided by 10. This is the mathematical formula if you are taking the ratio. Okay, KT2 upon KT1 that is equal to mu T2 minus T1 divided by 10. Now if we apply log on both the sides, what will we get? T2 minus T1 that will be equal to delta T. So this can also be written as mu upon delta T raised to power 10. ठीक है? Now applying log both sides, what will we get? Log of KT2 upon KT1 that is going to be equal to delta T upon 10 log of mu. So from here you can calculate the value of mu. Okay, so what is basically happening that when we are increasing the temperature of a certain reaction, the kinetic energy that is going to increase. Molecules की kinetic energy will increase ना. So if the kinetic energy that is going to increase, the number of collisions will also increase. And if the number of collisions will increase, then automatically the rate of the reaction that will also increase. Okay, so that is how we give the effect of temperature. Now there was a scientist by the name of Arrhenius. He suggested an equation which describes K as a function of temperature. So let's go on to the Arrhenius equation. Okay, so we have the next topic, Arrhenius equation. So Arrhenius gave us an equation which describes K as a function of temperature. According to this equation, K that is equal to A exponential raised to power minus EA upon RT. ठीक है? Where K is the rate constant, A is known as the frequency factor, right? It is also known as Arrhenius parameter. It is also known as pre-exponential factor. Right? So A is the frequency factor, it is also known as the pre-exponential factor, and it is also known as the Arrhenius parameters. In fact, A and EA. EA is the activation energy over here. Both of them, they are collectively known as Arrhenius parameters. Okay? R over here is going to be the gas constant and T that is going to be equal to temperature. Right? Now if we plot different kind of graphs, because this is, I have seen that in competitions we get questions on this basis also. So let's draw graphs between log of K and 1 by T. K over here is going to give us the rate constant and T is the temperature. Okay? So higher the value of K, we have already studied that higher the value of K, higher is going to be the rate of the reaction. And lower the value of K, lower is going to be the rate of the reaction. Okay? So in this case, we say that the graph is negative. Okay, now to calculate the activation energy from this graph, let's say this is the angle which is being made over here and this angle that is theta. Now in order to calculate the slope that will be equal to tan theta and that is given by EA upon 2.303, right? Now if we are drawing, this is the graph we have drawn between log of K and 1 by T. If we are drawing a graph between log of A upon R log of A upon R and 1 upon T, right? Then the graph comes like this. Okay? And if you are going drawing a graph between log of A upon R and T, right? Then the graph that comes to like this. Okay, so these are the three graphs which you have to remember. Now let's do this equation in detail. According to Arrhenius equation, K is equal to AE minus EA upon RT. Applying log on both sides, when we are applying log on both sides, what are we getting? We will get log of K that is equal to log of A minus EA upon 2.303 RT. Okay? When we apply log on both sides, this is the value of log of K is equal to log of A minus EA upon 2.303 RT. Now let's consider two different temperatures. Applying the same equation at T1 and temperatures T2. Okay? Now in this case, when we are taking temperature at T1, then the above reaction will become log of K1 that is equal to log of A minus EA upon 2.303 RT1. Okay? Similarly, log of K2 that will be equal to log of A minus EA upon 2.303 RT2. Let's say this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. Now let's subtract equation 1 from equation 2. We are subtracting equation 1 from equation 2. Then what will we get? We will get log of K2 upon K1 that is equal to log of A that will get cancelled, right? EA upon 2.303 R, ठीक है। into T2 minus T1 upon T1 into T2. Right? So this is how you can calculate, because we will discuss numericals on this equation tomorrow. On the basis of this, you can calculate the activation energy and you can also calculate the rate constants. Clear? Okay. Now let's classify the reactions on the basis of temperature. Because what we have done over here is we have done rate of a reaction and we have also done temperature. We will classify the reactions on the basis of the graphical representation into 5 types. Okay? And these graphs are very, very important. Alright, so we are classifying the reactions into 5 types depending upon the influence of temperature. Okay, the first graph, which is for normal reactions, like this is the rate, this is the temperature. We know that with increase in temperature, the rate of the reaction increases. So the graph can be shown like this, right? So if the reaction is normal, this is the first kind of reactions, the graph would be represented like this. The question which you can get over here is that they will give you a graph and then they will ask you what is the type of reaction. Okay. Second type of reaction is explosive reaction, in which the rate suddenly increase with even slight change in temperature. Okay. So the graph over here, temperature is increasing, the rate of a reaction is increasing, and suddenly the rate just bounces up. Okay, so this is the second type of reactions, which are explosive reactions, right? Then the third type of reactions, they are biological reactions. For biological reactions, if this is the rate and this is the temperature, initially the rate increases with increase in temperature up to a temperature of say 45 degrees Celsius, ठीक है? And then henceforth the rate of the reaction that is going to decrease. So this is at 45 degrees Celsius. These reactions, these are the third type of reactions which are known as biological reactions. ठीक है? These are known as biological reactions. Then oxidation of carbon. The next reaction which we have, that is oxidation of carbon. This is the rate, this is the temperature. Oxidation of carbon, that follows a very different path. First, the oxidation of carbon will increase with increase in temperature, then it decreases, and then it starts increasing again. Okay? So this is oxidation of carbon. Right? Then next we come to the only reaction with negative temperature coefficient. This is the only reaction where the rate of the reaction is going to decrease with increase in temperature. This is only one reaction. Right? And which is that reaction? That is the reaction of conversion of nitrogen dioxide to a dimer, N2O4. Nitrogen dioxide over here is down in color, ठीक है? and this is N2O4. Now when we are going to increase the temperature, the reaction proceeds in the backward direction. Okay? So it is with increase in temperature, the rate of the reaction that is decreasing. So for today, we are only going to do till here. Okay?